Welcome to the Listen to Us Rant About Movies podcast. Let's start the show. Here are your hosts, Wes Ford and Zach Harris.
I'm Wes Ford.
And I'm Zach Harris.
We rant about movies and drink while we do it. This is... Well, first off, Happy New Year, Zach.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Wes.
First day of 2021 and our first podcast episode of 2021.
Would you look at that?
It felt weird typing out the date already, just
Yeah.
for this, Strange. But what a...
Never thought we'd make it.
What an
We'd be there forever.
What an insane year. But it's not like all our problems are going to disappear.
Nope.
It's pointless in that sense.
Just a number on a page.
Yep. Anyways, last review for the 2020 year. Next episode, we're gonna have our top 10 countdown.
Woo.
But yeah, for this episode, we'll be discussing what we've been watching lately, followed by a double review of The Midnight Sky and Wonder Woman 1984. Two movies that came out just a couple weeks ago, if not less than. And tonight we're drinking, Zach, what are you drinking?
I am drinking Odell Brewing Company's Isolation Ale, which I saw, and it seemed seasonal, and also a very fitting name. Isolation.
So. Excellent.
Seems to be a running theme of the year, you know what I mean?
Definitely. It's a good ender beer. I couldn't find that one, but I found one that I just wanted to try. It's from New Belgium, Voodoo Ranger, Juicy Haze IPA.
Nice, I've had that. It's
Have
tasty.
you? Yeah, it's good. Well, let's give it a sip. Cheers.
Get a little sipperoonie.
Yeah, it's a real good one. Been real into the Juicy Haze IPAs.
Yeah, you've been a haze boy.
I've been a hazy boy. Yeah, it's really good. And because we're actually recording much later than we usually record, so that means I've already had a couple. So
Hey, off to a good start.
Yeah,
buddy,
I'm feeling already relaxed. I'm good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my beer is quite tasty. Definitely up my alley. I like the kind of like spicy seasonal ale, and that's right in line. So.
Is it like it's like a darker kind of ale, or what are we talking here?
Yeah, kind of like a brown or something like that.
Okay, like a brownish. Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Nice.
Daddy like,
Daddy like. This one's real good, real smooth. It's really light in color. Just delicious. I love how good IPAs have gotten.
Yeah.
I feel like they've improved over the last.
I feel like I'm hesitant.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wasn't huge on them, but then every now and again I'll give one a shot. I'm like, oh yeah, these are good. And I don't know if my palate's changed or if it's just if they've gotten better.
I think it's both. Because when I first
a little bit of both.
When I first tried them, I was like, not for me. Too hoppy.
Yeah, I wasn't in on it.
But it's the Juicy Haze. They're like, I don't know. It's something about them.
Daddy likes a haze.
They're haze. They're smoother. They have that juicy quality to them. They're just sort of like a more citrusy. It's good. Good shit. Anyway.
Hell yeah.
And in this one, mine is, I think, 7.5%. I don't taste it at all.
Nice. I don't know what mine is. 6.1.
Okay.
Not bad.
Not bad. Well, before we discuss what we've been watching, Ronnie, you want to chime in?
Ronnie, you had brought up something before the show
that
you wanted to say.
Yeah, there's something you wanted to say before. I think now's a good time to...
Just bring that in,
This podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/LTURAM. Choose from 180,000 titles from your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Now back to you, Wes.
If you like what you hear on this episode, remember you can find other episodes of our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and all other major podcast platforms. All right, let's get into what we've been watching. Zach, you want to kick it off?
Sure. Well, I guess I'll start with a Christmas movie.
Nice.
I watched goes by many titles. Dial Code Santa Claus, 3615 Code Pierre Noel, Game Over, Deadly Games. That movie is what I watched. I don't know why there's so many titles for it, but and it was really good, and I really liked it a lot. It's a French movie, late 80s, and the director had claimed that John Hughes ripped his movie off when he made Home Alone.
Oh, really?
So it's kind of like a proto Home Alone horror movie. It's really good.
Sounds
I don't
cool.
know if necessarily it's that direct, but it definitely, has a lot of similar themes. It's basically there's this weird Santa chat thing that's very strange, but I was in on it. And a serial killer gets on it, chats with this boy, and is basically trying to break into this huge mansion that this boy and his grandpa are in on Christmas Eve. And then the father of the boy was a major toy company CEO or something.
Mm-hmm.
So the kid has all these crazy gadgets and stuff. So it's basically him defending himself and his grandpa from this crazy serial killer dressed as Santa Claus who's trying to break into the house.
Okay. That sounds cool.
And it's really good. I really liked it a lot. There's definitely some things I wasn't super keen on, and specifically one moment that just kind of didn't match the rest of the tone and felt like a weird 80s kind of gag. It's kind of weird. But other than that, it's just really tight and super intense. Really intense movie.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't really pull many punches. It's a horror movie for sure. And
Wow.
It's pretty crazy. There's a lot of things in it that are real wacky, but it stays pretty serious. And there's all this cool stuff where all these exteriors of the mansion in miniature with snow and stuff and crazy dark Christmas score, and I was all about it.
That's
really
sick.
Good. Yeah,
That's
I was
sick.
a big fan.
The images
Vinegar
look crazy.
Syndrome. Huh?
The images look crazy. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, totally. It's a banger, and I guess it just got a big restoration, so I guess that's why it popped up a little more. I think it might be on Prime. But Vinegar Syndrome put out a 4K of it, so I got it on UHD.
Oh shit!
And honestly, the transfer is so good; it looks incredible. So
I love it, man.
that was probably my best Christmas watch.
Hell yeah!
I had never seen that. It was a nice, and honestly, I'll probably watch it most years. It's definitely one of my favorite, if not the best, Christmas horror movie I've seen.
Hell yeah!
Black Christmas is very good. I think Black Christmas might be the best, but this is close behind. Maybe on a rewatch it would surpass.
Very nice. Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't watch anything really crazy for Christmas themed stuff. I watched the usual stuff. But I'll start with something I watched today that I've been meaning to get to. Possessor.
Oh, nice.
Loved it.
It's great, right?
It's really good. I don't really have a problem with the ending. I think I might know what you're talking about, but I'm not sure. What kind of bothered you about the ending? And I guess slight spoilers for Possessor for anyone who might want to skip ahead.
guess it was just the way that they explained sort of the tech and the way that the possessing works or whatever. I was confused with how they were in the boy, and it felt kind of a weird it felt a little too twisty. I didn't need a twist in the movie.
Yeah.
And I guess it just kind of I guess I wasn't expecting one either, so I was just like, oh, what? This is a thing? And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, I don't get, did they really, like, camp out and, like, study this kid and, like, do all this, like, procedural, because in the beginning, there's a lot of, like, procedural stuff they do before, like, they go in or whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand how that, like, correlated to that twist at the end.
Yeah, I it didn't bother me too much. I sort of was just like, they needed her to get out, you know.
Yeah. No, totally.
And they probably just went in last minute, put the implant in the kid, and and then
fucking did it.
But it was crazy.
Down and dirty.
But overall, dude, I loved it. I thought
some really cool shit in there.
Great techniques were used, like the practical shit.
The wax like mannequins
So
melting
cool.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So good.
You could tell he learned a lot from his dad. You know, he's got some of that energy in it. You know, he's got the Cronenberg energy in it. I don't know. I really liked it.
It felt pretty, and I definitely agree. But it didn't feel like beholden to that.
No, definitely not.
It was definitely like its own thing, but it had the vibe. It was like just the right amount of the vibe. You know,
100%. Yeah, it didn't feel like it was trying to imitate that at all. Like it was just its own thing.
He's just clearly interested in like similar concepts. And,
and
tonally, it kind of rides.
And the sci-fi sort of aspect to it and all that. But yeah, dude, I thought it was great.
It's cool.
Yeah,
love all the way that the machines are, like the tech in it and stuff looks really cool and I like how it's
it's
like retro future, but also kind of new.
Yeah,
it was a nice balance.
It's retro future-ish, but it's just like in just the near future. Enough to where...
And it's not nostalgic retro future.
No.
It's like shitty retro future.
Yeah.
You know? Like looks like old analog equipment that's just like weird boxes of stuff.
I love that kind of shit. But also just sort of like just like a small detail I noticed was like a lot of people smoke, but everyone vaped. Everyone, so that, you know, that was sort of just like an interesting take on like, you know, cigarettes have just been completely phased out in this world.
In the future, everyone just vapes.
Yeah, everyone vapes.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah. So I thought that was sort of like a very near future sort of interesting world building aspect. I thought that was
totally.
It was interesting. Yeah, I loved it, dude.
Yeah, it's great. I got the UHD on its way, so I'll probably give that another watch when that gets here.
I went ahead and just bought it on Prime, so I went on there to rent it. And it was on sale for like $3.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was worth it. I'll definitely give it another watch sometime.
Yeah, it was solid. I enjoyed it.
Hell yeah.
I did a rewatch of something I hadn't seen in a long time. I watched High and Low, the Kurosawa movie.
Nice.
Which I had seen in high school or something, like when I was first getting into him. But kind of watched it in like a flurry of things, and I remember being like, cool, that was good. But I was just like, cool, put on the next one. I'm in high, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like discovering all of it. And what a fucking good rewatch. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It is so good. Have you seen this movie?
I haven't seen that one.
You should definitely check it out. It's
I've heard of it.
It's like a modern Kurosawa, so it's like 60s modern.
Nice.
But it's Mifune plays like the head of like a shoe company, and he's really wealthy, and
love that guy.
His son gets kidnapped, and it's like a kidnapping police procedural.
Wow. Interesting.
It is really, really good. And just the I feel like really ahead of its time in the way that it portrays the whole procedural aspect. Like, you know, we're taught like detectives, like, because there's these calls made to the house that's on the hill, and like they're narrowing down which phone booths could be used, and like people going and checking the vantage points of where you can see the house, and then like correlating the time that the calls happened with like trains that go by, and trying to like doing like all the like on the ground like detective footwork, but like really showing like the whole process of it. And there's like meetings with like the whole department where it's like, okay, where are we at on the car? And then it'll just like cut away to all these things of like people talking about each detective saying like what they found to try to find the person, and like it's really, really good.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
5 out of 5 banger for sure. It held up really, really well. It's a great movie.
That's awesome.
And there's a really cool special feature where they're talking about some of the insane shit that they did in the production.
Yeah.
Like, there's a shot of a train, and they went to scout the location, and they were like, Kurosawa's perfect angle was up on this hill, but there was a house in the foreground. This roof blocked the angle, and he didn't want the roof in the shot. So he, like, politely asked the family if they could remove the roof, and they said yes. So they just, like, removed the roof of a house instead of just moving the tripod. They were just like, no, it's better here. We should move that roof. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, let's remove that whole roof.
Holy shit. You know? And, like, there's this other story about how...
Plus, and
the whole...
That would never fly. They would just never fly in America. No. You know, like, no, ever. Fuck you. I'm not going to move my roof for you.
Yeah, you fucking kidding me? Kuro, what? Get out of here!
Yeah, exactly. But at this point, he's probably been a legend, you know, in Japan.
I guess he's just, like, very highly respected and can just get whatever he wants. Because when you watch the movie, I mean, it's, like, very detailed and everything's plotted out extremely well. But hearing about the production, I had no idea that it was, like, that gigantic.
Right.
Like, there's the living room of Toshiro Mifune's character, a big portion of the movie takes place in, and it's on a house on a hill that, like, overlooks the whole city. And they're talking about how they built, like, 4 versions of the house, one of which is built on an actual hillside, so he could open the door and have wind come in, because, like, wind was very important to Kurosawa. So
yeah, it's Kurosawa.
All the scenes where he's standing by the door are shot on a hill, and it's cross-cutting with scenes that are shot in a soundstage. And it's like, wow, you just built, like, multiple versions of the same set? And, like,
wow.
On the one on the hill, they had this, like, long shot where I noted in the movie, because I was wondering if it was a backdrop. And I was like, oh, no, I can see, like, movement in, like, the bokeh of the lights, you know?
Yeah.
And they talk about how he had, like, 30 cars going over this bridge, and they all had lights strapped to them to show up in the background of a close-up. And that they would cue this like, AD to drive 30 cars across a bridge. What? So it would show up behind a kid when there's a close-up of him delivering a line. It's just, like, the most unbelievable shit, you know?
Wow.
It's, like, really crazy. It was a very cool...
what an insane production.
Yeah, and it just, like, Kurosawa, I guess he just, like, no, it needs to be that way. And hey, when I watched the movie, I registered it. I went, oh, that's real. You know what I mean? Because I, like, specifically remember that happening. Yeah. So I was looking for it.
Yeah, yeah.
But then they also talk about how in the one that they built in the studio, they built a giant miniature city with, like, 6,000 LED lights in it or something.
Oh my
you
God.
know, it's just like all this crazy stuff for, like, seemingly a shot of, like, 5 people talking in a living room.
For, like, a seemingly pretty not high budget film, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just sort of like a detective story. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, it shows in the movie. It's very impressive. It's a really, really good movie.
Gotta check it out, man.
Who'da thunk a Kurosawa movie's good? You know?
Who'da thunk? Love it. Hell yeah, man.
Highly recommended. Did you buy the crit or? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
got that crit blue.
Nice.
But I think it might be on the channel. I'm not sure. Might be. It was when they were doing that Mifune retrospective thing.
That's cool.
Which I think some of them are still on there.
Another banger I saw today. Sound of Metal.
Oh, nice. I've been wanting to watch this.
It's free on Amazon Prime if you have that. Definitely recommend. Really, really great movie.
Hell yeah.
Obviously, its use of sound. If you don't know what it's about like a metal drummer in a band who he's on tour and he goes deaf, and so he basically has to struggle with that and his relationship that he has, and he's also a struggling addict. So it's sort of him tackling with all this stuff, but the way it's performed, the way it's laid out, it's so simple, and it's almost like it's more than a day in the life, but you're sort of just living through this guy's life, And in some ways, someone might find that kind of boring because there's hardly there's like barely a score. I think there's maybe like only a couple tracks. It's very quiet movie, smash cutting at times to like when he's playing music, but also does a really cool technique with the sound to where a lot of the time you're experiencing what he's experiencing. So, and it'll cut out of it too. So it'll cut out of what his perspective is and cut into, the reality of what he's experiencing. And so the sound work, the sound design is very cool. Just worth watching alone to see that technique play out in a really effective way. And it goes places where I didn't imagine. Like, I stopped it at one point. I paused it like halfway through. I was like, it feels like this movie is like over. How much? Like I was like halfway through, and I'm like, okay, where are they gonna go with this? And it kept going in a really neat direction that I didn't expect. And I thought the ending was real solid. So yeah, dude, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Riz Ahmed was amazing.
Yeah, he's great.
He was amazing
as an actor.
It's his best role that I've seen him in. He was fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, he was.
Hell yeah.
He kicked ass. And yeah, man, it's just there's a part of it too that sort of makes you sort of obviously appreciate what you do have. We both can hear, so that's fantastic. But even made this guy like, even though he lost something that he really enjoyed and tried to, change that, he learns to accept this new reality and in a really kind of beautiful way. So, Sound of Metal, definitely check it out. Yeah, real good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on my list. I gotta watch before next episode.
I've been pounding through a lot of 2020 films because I know that's coming up.
Yeah, it's on my agenda for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Slamming movies all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't really watched much else. I watched Home Alone 1 and 2.
I watched those too.
They're great.
Yeah.
Hey, they're really good, just like I remembered from last year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Watch
still
them every
holds
year.
up. Watch them every year, and they're still good. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms of movies.
I'll talk about one more, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, kind of a good back-to-back double feature actually for Sound of Metal would actually be Soul.
Nice.
It's a Pixar movie. Just came out. Disney Plus. It's Pixar, man. It's solid.
Nice.
But I really liked this movie a lot. Because it felt like it was, a kid. It's Pixar. Kids can watch it, but it really felt like a movie for adults.
Yeah.
Because it follows sort of like a middle-aged man who, kids can't relate in some aspects to this, but it's like a middle-aged man who he's trying to follow his dreams, and he never like attained the dreams that he, wants to, like he's trying to get to. And so it deals with that, like a guy reckoning with like not feeling like a failure, which kids can't relate to that, and also just like a celebration of jazz music, really good music, and just like life. It made me like literally just want to sit back and be like, and especially in a year like this year. And I watched it yesterday, so it was New Year's Eve, and it was a great movie to end the year on. Sort of like, you know what?
Yeah.
All this shit we've been going through, there's still good stuff. There's still a lot of good things in life, and this movie sort of gets that deeper meaning out of you, and I loved it, dude. I teared up at the end. I thought it was fantastic. Great acting by Jamie Foxx, who plays the main character.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that.
Tina Fey plays like the sidekick. And amazing animation. So check it out, dude. Really good movie. Really good Pixar movie.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the last few Pixar movies. I need to catch up.
Ooh, Onward's awesome too, dude.
Yeah, haven't seen Onward.
I loved
Inside
Onward.
Out.
I loved Onward.
Yeah, I heard it's really good.
You would dig Onward, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta catch up.
Yeah, man.
Fucking slacking, mate.
Put down the Switch.
Yeah, seriously.
It's hard to find that balance, right? Because I play a lot of video games too, and it's sort of like you only have so much time.
Yeah, and I feel like also I'm bouncing back because I haven't had a game console in like 10 years. I haven't had one.
You were all about movies for so long.
Yeah, I'm making up for lost time with that Switch, baby.
Yeah.
I'm diving deep into Zelda. I guess that's why I don't have as many movies. I'm playing a shitload of Zelda.
Yeah.
Which is great. Love Zelda.
Yeah, man.
Best thing about 2020 is Zelda, the 3-year-old game that I just got.
Everyone's like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Great 2017 release, dude. It's like, best of 2020, dude. Yeah. Sure.
Hell yeah, man. All right.
I guess I watched episode 1 of Mandalorian, which is good.
Season 2?
Yeah, season 2. I started season 2.
Okay. I was actually going to ask you about that.
So, liked it. It was good.
It's a great season, dude. I loved season 2. I thought it was great.
I felt in some ways, and I've only seen one episode, but in some ways it felt exponentially larger, and in other ways it felt quite a bit cheaper. Like some of the effect shots felt kind of goofy. Like when they were like riding on the bikes, and they're like Timothy Oliphant pulls up next to him, and he's like not wearing his helmet. He's just getting pelted in the face with sand, but he has his helmet. He's like, we're getting off up here, you know, just like they're like floating next to each other. I was like, it's a little silly.
I will say that's probably like the worst effect shot in the whole season.
Yeah,
so it gets better,
and and I'm sure it does. And like the writing was good. I liked the episode, but
yeah,
I just remember watching the first season and being like, this is the most expensive show I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like it's like I think so expensive looking.
It will make up for it because there are some effects you'll see coming up that. It's literally movie quality. Like it's it's a Star Wars movie, and there's like 8 of them.
Yeah,
yeah. So
it's crazy.
Keep watching it, man. Real cool shit happens in this season. Really good. I don't want you to get spoiled either. There's a lot of spoilers out there.
Yeah, I've almost got a couple. I would like go on movie news sites and be like, oh, what did Robert Rodriguez have to say about this episode?
Yeah.
No, I can't. What?
No, avoid that shit.
Yeah. I guess also real quick.
Yeah.
One other show. I don't think I mentioned this before because I watched it a bit ago now. But would highly recommend the show How To with John Wilson. Have you watched that?
I've heard a lot about this show, and I need to check it out.
Yeah. I watched it a few months ago, and it's extremely good.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the best things I've seen on TV in like a while.
At
least my favorite things.
I've actually been looking for a new show, so I might do that next. Because I've heard a lot about it. Yeah.
It's really, really good. And he also has like a lot of like the same stuff, like format, I guess, that he's done, like low budget DIY on his own. And after I watched the show, I like went on his site and like watched a bunch of his earlier stuff, and it's all really good too. It's just
nice.
He just has a smaller camera,
right?
But it's like the same format, you know.
That's cool.
But yeah, honestly, incredibly good show. I really, really like it a lot. So
I know I keep hearing that. I'll probably watch it tomorrow. So that's a good idea.
It's a quick watch. There's 6, I think.
Okay.
And at first I was like, can't wait to burn through these. And after I watched 2, I was like, I need to cherish these. Like,
yeah.
You know? Like,
HBO, right?
Yeah, it's on HBO.
Nice. Love it.
So, quick plug for that. It's been a minute since I watched it, but I'm already like, should I fucking watch this thing again? Like,
nice.
They're really dense. There's a lot in them.
Cool. All right, well, we're going to end our segment on what we've been watching right there, and we'll get into our reviews here. Do you want to do spoilers for both of these?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, totally. I took notes, too, because honestly, I was kind of out of it today. I was, like, feeling real groggy and tired. So
oh, good. Good for you. Nice.
I wrote notes, which I haven't done in a while, and honestly, it's probably, we'll see how it pans out.
It's helpful. It's helpful.
Shit that I already forgot about when I looked. Oh yeah, I want to remember that. Also some really stupid ones though, so we'll see.
All right, we'll see. Well, first off, we're gonna talk about the Midnight Sky, starting right now.
Come in, Ether. This is Barbo Observatory. Are you receiving this? Is anyone out there?
This is Ether. Does anyone copy? We're not receiving anything.
That puts our last contact with Mission Control at
3 weeks.
Why is it so quiet?
That's Ether. It's a spaceship that we hoped would be our future. I have to warn them about the conditions on Earth. I don't know all the details. It started with a mistake. There is an antenna that's stronger than ours. We get to that antenna, they'll hear us. Take a deep breath.
We're talking spoilers for the Netflix movie, The Midnight Sky. A description from IMDb reads, "This post-apocalyptic tale follows Augustine, a lonely scientist in the Arctic, as he races to stop Sully and her fellow astronauts from returning home to a mysterious global catastrophe." Stars George Clooney and directed by George Clooney. I did not know this going into it.
Oh, really?
I didn't know he directed it. Starring Felicity Jones, David Oyelowo. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. A lot of big names. Kyle Chandler.
Yeah. Big cast.
Big cast. But yeah, we're talking spoilers, so all is open. What'd you think, Zach?
I didn't like really dislike it. I didn't think it was like offensive, but it just kind of felt to me like a mashup of like a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
That all kind of like stood on its own better. And like once, like I didn't think it was bad. I wasn't like, man, this is rough, but it just seemed like a lot of like, there's like the post-apocalypse, like got a kid with you, and you know it's like, I'm grumpy, I don't like you, you're a kid. There's like that whole aspect, and then there's also this whole like spaceship aspect.
Yep.
And then there's like the whole like winter survival thing, which I think was kind of big too.
Yeah.
And it didn't really necessarily like fail at any of these. It wasn't like bad. It just kind of felt like stuff that I've seen, but each of those things stood on its own better.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. There's something that didn't quite work for me for this movie.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I didn't think it was bad, but it felt like I don't know, it felt like someone was missing. Or
it was a little empty feeling.
It did feel really empty. The characters felt a little empty, and there wasn't a lot. There wasn't like really a lot explained. You know, like it felt like a chunk was just like ripped out or something. Like maybe it was like edited too short, or I don't know. And then you know, because there's spoilers, the twist at the end was sort of just like, okay. It wasn't like I didn't feel the emotional impact of that like whatsoever.
No, it was a little like, come on.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay. I was like, oh, okay. The concept. It's one of those things where it's like the concept of it was cooler than like it was actually played out. You know?
Yeah. Just things like that where I don't know. It's just so much chance. It's like this is really happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of chance involved in that. Just it like makes things read a little false.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah. Like I didn't think it was bad. Like you said, it felt very sort of dull, very forgettable.
Yeah.
I'll never watch it again.
It kind of felt like it was like going through the motions of things.
Exactly.
But every now and again there would be something like a little detail that was cool. That was like, oh, when they went through this motion, they like did something kind of cool. But there was also times where it just kind of felt like when they're in the journey, like in the wilderness or whatever, it was just like, oh, okay, they're walking. Oh, now they encounter something. Oh, now they're walking. Now they encounter something. And then it's just kind of over. And it didn't really feel like a journey when, I don't know. And then their storyline just kind of like fizzles away.
It fizzles out
at a certain point, and the other one takes over. And I think there's probably like a cooler movie in the edit somewhere.
Yeah,
like if this movie started and it was like all the space stuff, and then right when they get the like ping or whatever, or some shit happens, you cut to Earth and then it's George Clooney, and they were like almost like two halves or something. Or maybe if you flip that and like you never expect it to go to space, and then halfway through the movie it's like, oh, this is a space movie now. I think I would have been a little more interested in it, because it just kind of was like cross-cutting between them, and they're like drawing all these like visual parallels between them, like match cuts and stuff that look cool. Yeah. But I don't really get like, and I guess the twist maybe has something to do with the choice for that, but like, I don't really get why I have to see these two stories like simultaneously. Because what's the alternative? They don't link up at the end? Like, no way that's not going to happen. Right. Of course he's going to call and they're going to hear the spaceship. Yeah. If George Clooney just died and then, you know what I mean? And then they just like, you cut to space and like, yeah, I guess we'll never know. Let's turn around. And that's the end of the movie. It's like, why did I just watch this? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's a cooler story in there. And, you know, I saw too that it's based on a book, and it felt very much like it was based on a book. Absolutely. You know, it felt like it was in some respects, you know, how a lot of book to movie translations, they sort of go through some of the motions of, because that's what the book does, of the scene, but then it's just like a 5-minute thing, like the scene where they're in that weird trailer and they're talking and then it just cuts to them like sinking was so weird. Yeah, that was really weird. I was like, that's a strange edit. I thought like that was a really weird edit. Yeah. What was the point of that? And there was like cool aspects like in that action set piece, but it's just some of the way that those transitions happened, it felt cut. Like the movie felt like trimmed. Yeah, exactly. I think another what's his George Clooney's name? It's like Dr. Augustine. Yeah, but his last name, like Longthwile or something. I just remember at one point being like, you know, this thing's based on a book when the main character's name is like Dr. Augustine Longthwile or something. You know, like he had like such a long, like very book-like name. Like, very much. This is definitely based on a book. Oh yeah, it really felt like that. Almost like, you know, how The Martian had similar aspects of it. Like it felt like it was based on a book, you know. Yeah. Totally. It just felt like I don't know. It's weird to me that like George Clooney is like in Gravity, and then he directs this movie where he's like tries to do like a space meteor scene, and it's just like, dude, weren't you there when they shot Gravity? like why are you trying to one up this right now? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, totally. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. It just felt like a lot of like hot things, like not necessarily hot like popular, but like things. Like, there was a lot of, like, picking from, like, things that were successful, you know? Yeah. It's like, ooh, cool, like, space gravity thing. And, like, ooh, like, the, you know, fighting wolves in a snowstorm, you know? And kind of, like, putting those together. And, like, those scenes, a lot of time in the movie, like, as a one-scene thing, are, like, cool little set pieces. But they never, like, fully, like, pulled together into something that, like, felt cohesive for me. Yeah. Totally. Like, when it was cutting to space, I was like, I might like this space movie, but it just doesn't feel like it's the same movie as the George Clooney movie, you know? I did like George Clooney with, like, a giant, dirty beard. That was cool. He was just, like, sweaty and had shit in his beard the whole time. You've never seen him, like, more unattractive in a movie. Yeah. He, like, wakes up in the beginning of the movie, he has a bunch of crumbs in his beard, like, just, like, sweating. And him just, like acting super drunk all the time. Yeah. Eating pills. He's just like, what were those pills? Yeah, what were the pills? She's like eating a bar, and he's like, I like these. He's eating pills. I was like, well, with whiskey. I mean, if you don't eat, you're just gonna die, and then she's gonna be alone out here, dude. You should maybe eat some of that candy bar. Yeah, seriously. Fucking take a bite, dude. You need to survive. He's like, I don't need those. I got these. These are better. Yeah. He's like, what are those, dude? Pain pills? You're not gonna feel anything. You're gonna wake up dead. Totally. Oh man. Kind of a weird detail that Emily watched it with me, and we were sort of, it's like a strange detail that was just like personal for us, was like the little girl, she looks weirdly like what our child is going to look like
in like
Oh yeah,
like when she's older. Like they had like the same face. It was very strange.
really
we were like,
funny. Yeah,
is that Zoe? It was weird.
Yeah,
It was like, you look just like her. This is what she's gonna look like. I don't know. That was weird. So we had that.
Yeah,
we had that
surreal.
conversation throughout the movie. You know.
Yeah, just like watching it for 20 minutes. Like, damn, it really looks like.
Yeah,
her,
it's like
though.
it like really looks like doesn't it?
Yeah.
Clearly too, it's something just like a production set detail with I thought was something I noticed was sort of the 3D printed look on everything. It's kind of
I was gonna bring that up. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
That was like a thing where it was like
that seems like a realistic future space thing, you know?
Yeah, and like his gun had the 3D printed back.
Yeah.
And everything. Also, just the exterior of the ship had like sort of like a more organic design structure.
Yep.
Like everything was like hexes or like the weird like spidery shape.
Yeah.
I liked that aspect too.
It's a cool
I thought that was
design.
Cool. Totally.
Yeah.
It makes sense and like
Yeah.
it's logical and like also looks cool in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like an interesting look.
They said
Which
even at one
visually-
point too, they're like there was like some damage to the ship, and they're like, oh, they said we'll just print that. That's what they said. So that really kind
I
of
didn't even
hammered it
catch that.
home there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
They're like, oh, we'll just print that piece or something like
I also liked when the meteors are hitting or just before that the ship is like flexible and it has like the walls were like rippling like water.
Yeah.
when it was getting hit.
Yeah,
That was also a cool little thing.
that was
like,
unique.
oh, neat little visual there. You know.
Also, I did also like the sort of all the blood floating, like all the little droplets floating in the zero gravity.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
Was neat.
Yeah. I did not get though that if she got hit by something and was bleeding, wouldn't she have suffocated because it would have punctured her suit?
Yeah, that wasn't very clear. It's like, where did she...
I didn't really understand that.
I think they didn't make it clear, but I think it was sort of like she got pierced with something inside the suit. So that's where the blood was inside, right? Inside the suit.
Yeah.
Maybe it like sealed the hole, but then she was losing oxygen. So I don't...
Yeah, it just... That was a little confusing to me. And I was like, wait... Because she was also puking before they went out. So I was like, wait, is she like... Is this like an internal thing? And then they like reach behind and there's blood on her back. It's like, oh no, she got hit. So I was just like, I don't really understand.
The suit would have...
I think she would suffocate.
The suit would have depressurized and...
Yeah.
She
like,
would have... Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Got all squished.
Yeah.
Thought that was kind of weird. Also, that scene, there are some pretty rough VFX shots of like David Oyelowo. Whatever, like, yeah, like a quick insert of him going no, and it was just like his head like floating in the helmet. It's like there's a couple, or like the perspective would be wrong, so it'd be like they were like turned like too far or something. There are a couple little goofy.
There were
There were always really quick cuts. It would like cut for a second. I go and I rewind and be like, ooh, you know.
I thought the blue screen was really bad with Felicity Jones when she was on the planet.
Yeah,
and she's like running away
too.
or like running towards the ship in the grass or whatever.
In the beginning.
Yeah. That's a little rough.
It's a little rough, yeah.
Cool to see like the Jupiter sky, but like it was when it was behind her. It was sort of.
There's like a pretty hard line. The lighting like quite didn't.
Yeah, it didn't match.
Yeah, and like sometimes I can overlook that and be like whatever, but they were also being like kind of like showy with the way that they were shooting all that, so then it's kind of like
yeah,
takes you out of it a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Again. Also, the casting of young George Clooney is really weird.
Yeah, so that actually brings up something else I want to talk about. We could talk about the casting first, but I thought that was weird. I wasn't a fan of the flashbacks.
Yeah. Get flashbacks out of sci-fi movies.
It didn't work.
Any sci-fi movie, get it out.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's like I get that it brought context to his story, you know, and that
not that much though to me.
It just established like, oh, it was like the girl he never had, but then you find out that that was his daughter. That's what is. I don't know, but it just there's another way to do that. I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought this was stupid and distracting.
It kind of just broke from the pace, and I would have rathered it be just like a tighter movie, like than adding that to the time. That like, because what I got from it in terms of like the depth of his character did not match the like pacing that it lost out on.
Right.
Because it's like cross cutting like while they're journeying and stuff, and it's just like Like, stay in it. Like, anytime you're, like, cutting around, like, during those things,
Yeah.
it just makes it... It made it feel, like, disjointed. Like, it didn't feel like they were cutting for a reason. It more felt like, oh, people are going to get bored. We got to, like, cut back to this. Or, like, we got to have something to break up these two scenes when...
And we're running out of time. We got to get to that movie part. Or the book,
Yeah,
the book part, you know.
Mm-hmm. And it seemed like everything was kind of sectioned off in its own sort of like little set piece that when you're just like bobbing around between them, I don't think it was as effective if you had just like stuck with each person like going through their thing. And the flashbacks didn't help that.
No, at all. You know, I thought of this just now. It was like, because George Clooney directed this, so it's like, is that what he thinks that he looks like? You know, that's sort of a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like, casting your younger self is like weird.
It was really weird because he was not. It was a bad age, and that maybe that guy is really young, and like because he looked like he was like late 30s, maybe like 40 or something. 30s. And at that point, like you'd look more like yourself,
right?
And it's like, sure, I'm always like, just cast someone different. Who cares? But like, don't cast someone. The age was off. He looked too old. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm glad they didn't just shaved. Like
I'm glad they didn't do the de-aging. Though.
Yeah,
I'm glad they cast. You know, I'm glad they cast someone else. You know, fine, whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think you're right. Like the age was maybe a little off or something.
Yeah, he was too old. Something about it felt really weird. It was just like a bad casting choice.
Yeah.
Not necessarily bad in concept, but just like didn't pan out right.
Like the eyes, I kind of get was sort of the same, and then George Clooney had the beard, so it's harder to covered up a lot of his face. Yeah. So if you didn't know who George Clooney was as a person, maybe it's convincing. But
who's watching this that doesn't know?
Yeah, everyone knows who George Clooney is.
Yeah. So like, especially everyone who's watching this movie.
Yeah.
So it was a little silly. Like, and again, it's like fine. Like, I didn't think it was like terrible, but it just something about it. I have a couple real nitpicky ones. First is at the beginning, the scene where George Clooney makes cereal and then turns around and there's cereal there.
Yeah,
he leaves the milk out. I just thought it was funny because I noticed because it was a weird bottle of milk, and I was like, what a weird milk bottle. And then he just pours it and sets it there and walks away. I was like, how much milk does he have?
Yeah.
Like, you'd think he'd be like rationing this shit.
Yeah, seriously.
And also, like, that means if she got the milk, then that the milk was just out, and he thought that was fine. You know what I mean? He just walked up and was like, time to pour this milk. It's like, it's been sitting out all night, dude. Like,
yeah, I might want to replace that one.
Also, I thought it was weird that George Clooney halfway through the movie switches to putting food on plates and not just microwaving it. Is that supposed to be a character thing?
I don't know.
Because there's that really wacky scene where they throw the peas at each other. Yeah. Which is like so overscored. Like, not a bad... okay, they like bond over something, whatever.
I thought it was kind of cool. It was definitely that.
It was just kind of like wah, 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 and he's like existential dread. He's like, everyone's dead on Earth, and it was like,
yeah, no, that part was way overscored.
Yeah, little goofy. Once again, I don't dislike like that in concept, but
I feel like it had like I kind of like the concept of it because it almost felt like a bit of like a Spielberg moment.
Oh yeah, totally.
It was a completely different vibe, but it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's essence. Like they're gonna have to have that at some point, and that was like a cute little way to do it. But it just like it's like major tonal shift from what was happening like right before that.
It sort of threw you off a little bit,
and it also threw me off because they specifically like multiple times have him like peeling the like lid off the dinners or whatever and eating it out of the tray, and now that's on plates.
Maybe he did it because of the girl,
Yeah, I'm like, is this like a character signifying moment, or is this just fucking lazy? Because it's weird. Because you can't see the peas in the tray, and then she'd be taking them out.
Yeah.
I think it was because of that. That's my second nitpick. And my third nitpick was so they're on the ship, and everyone has these like virtual like hologram hangouts with like their family or whatever.
Yeah.
Kyle Chandler's eating a bowl of cereal. There's a lot of cereal in this movie.
There's a lot.
Kyle Chandler's eating a bowl of cereal with his family, and he can't even get through a whole bowl of cereal before the computer's like, breakfast timed out. Would you like another? And he's like, no. And it's like, okay, if you're creating this virtual hologram for him to eat breakfast with, make it more than 10 minutes long.
He didn't even get to like enjoy his bowl of cereal.
Yeah, like they end the hologram when his wife holds his hand and then they cut it off. I was like, what a cruel thing to do.
It's like, you've got 10 minutes.
Yeah. Like, the people making the hologram graph, fuck it, just end it there. That's all we can do. It's like, what? He didn't even get through one bowl of cereal. And also, who's to say that maybe this was his third or fourth bowl? That could be that he's eating cereal all day. But Kyle Chandler seems like
fourth bowl.
Kyle Chandler seems like a lean breakfast eater. I don't think he would eat a big breakfast. So I think it's one bowl.
This picture is like the alternate version of Kyle Chandler just eating bowls of cereal.
Yeah. He's like, I'm stress eating. I miss my family.
It's like, I don't really think he did that. It's not really fair. The other, like, that one girl was like hanging out with her family for like an hour or something.
Yeah, for so long. And she's like so flippant with it that the guy comes in. She's like, hey, come in. I'm not doing anything. Whatever. But like, Kyle Chandler only gets like 6 minutes.
He like just poured the cereal into the bowl.
Yeah, it's so silly. It's so short. Like, why is it so short? I did not understand that. Total 100% nitpick, like such a minute nitpick, but
that's the best one. That's so funny.
I did not understand that. It was very weird.
I thought that kind of too at the moment. Like, I was like, that did feel like kind of short. Like he was still eating and.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
Does this happen to him every morning?
Yeah, it's like every morning.
What a bummer. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Anyway. I don't really have any more thoughts other than just to wrap it up. It's like, it's not, and it didn't really do anything new for me, like overall for the story. Like I feel like I've seen it before. There's many other movies like this. And it's a mashup of other concepts we've seen before.
Yeah, it's like that Jeffrey Wright movie, and also The Road, and also
felt like The Martian a little bit.
The Martian,
for like the space stuff.
Yeah, just felt like it was kind of like trying to dip its toe in maybe a few too many pools. But once again, if these things were like, maybe if it was a series and you could like spend a whole episode in the spaceship and then spend a whole episode with George Clooney, maybe it would have had more time to like sort of, because like, I don't hate the concept, even though it does feel like a mashup of stuff. Like, it didn't feel like outrageous, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, man, what a stretch.
But it just felt very slimmed down.
Yeah, it was but it was also too long, you know what I mean? So it's like, there wasn't enough there that they were like massaging it to withstand the length.
What do you rate it?
2.5, I guess.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Real heavy 2.5, maybe like a light 3, but
yeah, I would maybe give it a 3. Because like, I wasn't like, fuck, is this thing over? Like, I still like enjoyed like watching it to an extent, you know what I mean? I wasn't like super out on it, but it also it just like wasn't doing a lot for me.
Yeah,
didn't win me over, but didn't like make me angry.
All right, we'll go with 2.5, heavy 2.5 for that. All right, that's The Midnight Sky. Watch it if you want.
Yeah, hey. It's not a terrible, it's not a bad it's not a waste of 2 hours.
It's not a waste.
But there's also other things you could watch that are a lot better in that 2 hours.
In the day and age where we have literally endless options. Yeah. You can maybe pass on this one.
You can maybe watch this 3 times.
All right, next we're going to be talking about spoilers for Wonder Woman 1984.
Before you get into our spoiler segment, I'd like to interject to discuss that special deal from our sponsor again. For the listeners of the Listen to Us Rant About Movies podcast, Audible is offering a free audio book download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. To download your free audio book today, go to audibletrial.com/LTURAM. Again, that's audibletrial.com/LTURAM for your free audio book.
This world is not yet ready for all that you will do. Your time will come, Diana. And everything will be different.
Citizens of the world, I'm here to change your life. Anything you want, anything you dream of, you can have it. You look like you saw a ghost. Diana, look at you. It's like not one day has passed.
I don't want to be like anyone. I want to be an apex predator. You've always had everything, while people like me have had nothing.
A description from IMDb. Rewind to the 1980s as Wonder Woman's next big screen adventure finds her facing two all-new foes, Max Lord and the Cheetah. Weird description, but okay.
Yeah.
Sequel to Wonder Woman. It's in the DC Extended Universe. Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins, also co-written by her. Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig, and Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, I did not know he was in it.
Yeah. So, first of all, Zach, because I know you just watched the first Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I watched the first one yesterday.
Talk a little bit about that one, and then how that compares to this one. And then go into your thoughts on that.
Well, I wasn't a huge fan of the first one.
Saw your rating. Wanted to maybe call you out on that.
Call me out on it. Okay.
Maybe it seemed a little low. Seemed a little low for the first one.
I just didn't. I didn't really.
But how does it compare to this
find
one?
It, huh?
Probably seems a lot better now that you've watched this new one, right?
I honestly, I feel like they're kind of pretty on par with each other.
All right.
I didn't feel. There just wasn't like a whole lot about the first one that I was like super into. I feel like I'm not totally out on like alternate history stuff, but sometimes in the context of the superhero thing, it just feels a little much to me. Like Wonder Woman, like walking out of a World War I trench and like blocking bullets is just like, I don't know, like this World War I's pretty like fucking dark scary. You know, like just it's kind of like a weird like glossing of like a actual thing that was really terrible, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's necessarily like it's like ethically bad, like I was like poo-pooing it. It's just sometimes doesn't like I just don't like enjoy it that much.
I see what you're saying.
Just kind of distracting at times. And I also think that while it's cool that there's like a female superhero and it's also cool that it's directed by a woman, I also don't think it's like a super progressive movie that like is like doing everything right, you know what I mean? Because it's also like her getting like mansplained culture the whole time, like because like she's the and if there wasn't that like first like 5 minutes in like the Amazon thing, I don't even think it would pass like the Bechdel test of like, because it's just like her with like men the whole movie.
That's
She's
true.
like the only woman character aside from the villain. This one's a little better with that, but it just and I'm not saying it's like awful, like burn it, it's terrible, but I don't know. I think the thing that I think was worse about that aspect for me is that the times that she's most powerful in both movies are when she's sad over a guy, which I think is kind of weird.
That's true.
Like, I think it's a little strange.
It's interesting because you're not. I mean, you make complete sense, but you know, the first movie Wonder Woman came out in 2017, 3 years ago. Feels like an eternity ago.
Yeah, it really does.
So
like,
it's interesting because you're not wrong, but the perspectives of the time was a little different. And I mean, you're totally right. I mean, I guess with that lens of today, it's just like, I see what you're saying. But at the time, it was like such a big deal. It was more, maybe it had a bigger impact on me because it was all about women empowerment in 2017. You know, it was so having this big screen movie and with like a lot of heart, and plus it was in the midst of just having really terrible DC movies. There was Batman vs Superman had come out. It's
at least competent.
Yeah,
and makes sense for the most part.
It felt more like
unlike a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, and then it was also during the time where Marvel was killing it, so it was like, oh, DC might have a chance, you know. So I just want to throw that perspective in there. I think.
No, I feel that.
I think it's a little different, but seeing it today, okay.
I will say though that from that perspective, doesn't really seem like they learned much though, based on the new one. Because I feel like I had the same issues with the new one that I did with the old one.
Yeah. So,
you know what I mean?
So what do you think? So what do you think about 1984?
Well, I initially think that it was absolutely falsely presented as like an 80s romp.
Yeah.
Not at all that. Like literally all the 80s things that they show in the trailer are in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. Yeah. And also, while this isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I'm not like, man, I just wanted Wonder Woman at the arcade riding bikes. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't care. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
But it also, I was kind of expecting something more fun. And like, it's presented like her in this bird suit and like all this crazy neon. And I was like, oh, this is going to be like different. And it's not really.
Like, you know? Thor Ragnarok level fun, maybe.
Yeah. And like, that does change it up. Thor Ragnarok delivered on that sort of promise, and they seemed like they were going for that, but it seemed like they were going for that while they made the poster. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's about it.
Yeah,
like it doesn't really correlate to the rest of the movie at all.
100%. Yeah,
and I also thought it was pretty weak in terms of like what it was trying to say. Like there is definitely some seemingly early stage concept of it being like some anti-capitalist thing, but at the end of the day it's like absolutely not, and it's just like a huge giant thing made by Warner Brothers. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like,
here's my question, why is it even in the 80s?
Makes no sense,
because it literally presents like the 80s as a setting, because it is, you know, it's a setting, and then it never, like, other than like the outfit part, which is in the trailer, is like, it's never like, it bothered me so much that this was in the 80s, because like you didn't even get the good music or anything out of it. Like there was no reason for it.
There was maybe like one licensed song in it. I thought it was gonna be needle drops the whole time. And once again, I'm not trying to say like I was mad that there wasn't, because that sometimes that can be like a little eye rolly if it's a little too much.
For sure.
You know? So like I was expecting that, and then it wasn't that at all. But it's like, you're not even trying to do that? Like, what are you making here? You know what I mean? Like, I thought I knew what you were trying to do. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Because it also completely says nothing about the gap in time of the other one.
Yeah.
Which I was very confused about. And it's like, I guess I didn't see Justice League, but that is now. So, like, why would that fill in the gap of 1920s to the 84? But, like...
Doesn't explain it.
There's the opening scene, she, like... fights the guy at the mall, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like, this is the third report we've had of this mysterious woman in the area. It's like, this is the third report? Hasn't she been doing this for 40 years?
Yeah. I guess she just hasn't been. I guess she hasn't been doing it. Like, she's just been sitting around.
Why is she started her third one's like, hey, there's something going down at the mall. I better get down there.
Yeah, like why now? This is
what's getting you out of retirement? You know what I mean? That, I don't know. I didn't really understand
it was like
this
small crime that had, you know, maybe had something to do with like art, you know, historical artifacts. Let me back up a little bit. Let me just say,
yeah.
For me,
we were going down a hole there.
For me, I think the first Wonder Woman movie is pretty competent for a Marvel or for a DC film.
Yeah.
A lot of them aren't great, but I feel like that's the best in my mind was that one. I was pretty excited for this movie, and I was very disappointed. I did not like this movie at all. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was terrible. And the more I thought about it, I was like, this is a really bad movie. So that's my general overall thoughts. So going back to what were we talking about beforehand? Oh, so like, yeah. So she's been doing this again. Why is it in the 80s? We don't know. It's all right.
Very arbitrary.
Other than to have like the fun environment, which you didn't even take advantage of.
Yeah, it's literally a montage in the beginning. And it's the montage that's like, wow, this is a lot. Because they're like going through all the tropes. And it's like, okay, that I guess since that's the only time you're doing it. But it was a little weird.
Yeah. And
weird choice. I don't get the choice.
I get, also things being in the 80s is a little trendy. But like, at least have some fun with it. Movie didn't feel very fun at all. It
was not fun.
It was not fun. Wasn't funny at all. The only quote-unquote funny part was when he was like trying on the outfits, which was spoiled in the trailer. Like all the best parts of the movie, which aren't many, are in the trailer. So all of that is spoiled. Another reason to stop watching trailers, but also maybe not show your best stuff in a trailer.
Maybe save some nuggets for the movie.
Also the script felt very, it tried to force that heart thing again.
Fucking patch job.
It was brutal. It was corny. It was
the way that they get fucking Chris Pine back in this movie is outrageous.
Okay.
I wish that he comes back and
let's talk about this too. This is a big part, right? So we're gonna spoil obviously. I was very curious how they're gonna bring back Chris Pine. All right.
Yeah.
So now you have this. So they introduce this ridiculous concept of this like wish stone that they find, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what the fuck is going on with him inside the body of this other guy?
It's literally
if you can use a wish stone.
Like, I just see you. I just see you. And it's like, wait, what? So no one else does, only her. And he like looks himself in the mirror once, and then it's just like, oh, I'm just supposed to accept this now?
Honestly,
like,
so stupid.
And then they bring him back at the end on Christmas. And it's like, whoa, this is wild.
And they're like, and then they sort of introduce like, oh, maybe she will find this guy that she randomly met that she already had sex with.
Yeah, she
with
goes
another
fuck
man.
that guy before, so now she'll actually like him. It's like, what?
Maybe I'll give this guy a shot. It's like
very weird.
What the fuck was going on with that? Okay, so backing up a bit, you have the wish stone. Why can't, it's a wish stone. Why can't he just come back as himself? Why does he have to inhabit this body? It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It pissed me off so much. It's like, why? It's like such a arbitrary thing that doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, yeah, because they also bring things out of the air later. It's like, and disappear them. But
it's
the
a
logic
wish
makes
stone.
No sense.
Wish stones are stupid anyway. So
yeah. It's a silly concept to begin with, but it's like if you can wish stone a Porsche to just exist right there and it just pops up, then why can't you bring back a person? And then also, when everything is disappearing, why do some things fall apart and break and some things vanish?
Makes no
because the bombs
sense.
vanished and then all the walls break, and it's like, wouldn't they just vanish? They just appeared, so they would just vanish. They wouldn't break. It
makes no sense. The rules of the wish stone make absolutely no sense. So that right away put a really bad taste in my mouth. It was just like so odd that he's and then they immediately like reconnect and have sex basically, in so many ways, and you're just like, okay, hold on, did she but she's not seeing Chris Pine. She's seeing this dude.
Well, no, she says she's seeing Chris Pine. They write it in that way. She says, like, strange, I only see you. Or something like that.
But not literally. Like, she sees...
I took it as literally, because the way that they did that was so wacky. I don't know.
It's not clear, because he's walking around in a different body.
It's very
so
dumb.
stupid. Like, why that decision was terrible.
Like,
right.
it seriously would have been better if he just walked in and go, I didn't die. And she's like, well, that was like a long time ago. He's like, yeah, I just didn't die. Okay.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
You know what I mean? Like, sure, okay, whatever.
Yeah, so that was a big question that was answered. It's like, okay, that's what all the fans were waiting for. Like, why?
Yeah.
So that
but
was
then they
weird.
just kill him off again.
Right.
And now he's just dead again. And it's like, okay, well, now they're going to have to figure out some way to write him in the third one, because I'm sure they're just like, the chemistry between them, we can't get rid of. We need that chemistry. It's like, well, not really. It's pretty... I don't know.
I mean, he brought some... He's a good actor, and he brought some, like, good energy to the movie.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It was a really backwards way of doing it. Like, just have him come back. Just have him be alive again. Why does he have to inhabit this body? So, anyway.
It's silly.
And then what'd you think of Kristen Wiig? So I thought that was a weird casting.
I liked her.
I thought she did okay.
I didn't really like the way the character was written.
Yeah.
But I thought I like her as a performer.
Yeah, me too.
She was good,
but she seemed like such a good person, and I felt like
they tried to do a Catwoman thing, and it just didn't pan out.
I felt like her like descent to like being evil
was not warranted.
Yeah.
Like, what's her motivation?
She's like,
she has
I want to be cool now.
A semblance of confidence. Yeah, she woke up hot. Now she's just like, I want to be hot still.
I will do anything to remain hot.
Yeah, but then she just fucking dies at the end, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the lesson there that you're trying to tell people? I was like, oh, she's clearly just gonna like not be decatified and still have the confidence, and she's still hot because she's always hot because she's Kristen Wiig and she's a famous attractive actress. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I love.
And it's like, it's just kind of goofy. It's like, oh, so she needed like an evil spell to have confidence, and then she's so scared of losing her confidence that she like murders people. You know, it's just like.
Another thing doesn't really make sense either, because everyone gets like one wish, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't very clear. Okay, so did she get multiple because she became hot and sexy and cool, and then she had like she's like, I want everything I have right now, but as a cat.
Yeah.
So she got like a second wish that wasn't clear either. It's like,
yeah, I'm not sure. She just kind of shows up as a cat.
But I love how she was already a superhero-ish person. You know, from that.
Yeah.
She's like, I want all of this, but I want to be like a predator. It's like, okay. Really dumb. Really dumb.
And I think they could have just got away with like the same thing. Like, I think a big thing for this movie is there's some decisions that are good if the movie was different. So like, if this was a 90-minute fun 80s action movie, I would love to see Kristen Wiig as a Catwoman. You know what I mean? But it's not. Yeah. It's like not a kind of boneheaded, dark, serious movie that's 2.5 hours long.
Yes.
So I don't want to see that because there's no explanation of it.
Yeah.
And same thing with like what happened in between. It's like if it just comes on, it's like, I'm Wonder Woman, I'm in the 80s, let's fight people now. You know what I mean? Then I don't really care because it's short and it's fun and that's all it's trying to do. But it's like aspiring for more and not hitting it. So then that's why it's like a problem. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
Because I found myself thinking like, this is lame. And then being like, actually, I think in another movie, this choice wouldn't be lame. But it's just somehow in the way that they're like positioning it tonally, it just like doesn't jive with what the product is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It has a lot of concepts that just don't pan out. Another one being, I will say that I thought it was kind of cool in some ways to see like the wishes sort of play out and stuff. I was like, I guess that was kind of neat. But then it was
a
like
missed opportunity though. Yeah,
and where's one part that I cracked up? I was watching it with my brother-in-law and my father-in-law during Christmas time. We all put it on because we wanted to watch it, and so near the end, when everyone, you know, Pedro Pascal's like, everyone wish your dreams, wish it. And then just like the clouds get like dark, and my brother-in-law said something like, what is, is this a wish storm? Like what is this developing? Like,
Yeah,
like all
very
these
weird.
wishes, and there's just like a storm now. Like, are these? What
Yeah,
is
the logic
going
of
on?
The wishes is so weird, and also some real misguided shit in there. Like cutting to a Middle Eastern guy with like an AK-47 being like, "I wish for nuclear bombs," and he's like shooting someone. It's like, geez, what the fuck is this in here? Like, goddamn, guys. Like,
Also, I guess the only other reason that it was in the 80s was like the nuclear weapons thing.
yeah, but still, just like a
It's just
weird,
like-
misguided, and like the president is just like a generic president guy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a weird, like against the grain with the way the first movie went, because the first movie went seeing like, oh, let's put Wonder Woman in this. So,
Yeah.
like this is going on in this time.
Right.
And we're treating the time as real. But then this one's this sort of like weird glossy version where it's just like, I'm the president. And it's like, well, you're just not getting into any of that, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, and it's still...
Should have just made like a Reagan, like a Reagan actor.
Yeah, it's just really strange. I think it just like skated around a lot of things that like conceptually seemed like why they chose to make this movie. And then they just abandoned that reason and just went, oh, it'll just be in the 80s and it'll be fun because it is then. And it's like, well, you didn't do any of the things.
But you
that
didn't
make
do
it
any of the
fun.
fun stuff.
Because, like, I get centering it in the 80s. You're having this whole concept about wishes and everyone for their deepest wish you can have whatever you want. And it's, like, very much like the American ideal.
Yeah.
And, like, shopping malls in the 80s and blah, blah, and it's, like, it's getting to all that stuff. But it doesn't do any of it at all.
I get
Like,
that all
it
on
starts
paper.
off...
Right, I get that on
but
paper.
you didn't do it, though. In
None
the
of that
movie.
made it
you
to
didn't do the theme.
Yeah.
They finished the movie and they went, fuck, we forgot the theme.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
didn't put it in.
None of
Like-
none of that made it to the screen, like, at all.
But that seems like that has to be what the intention was for
Oh,
writing the
totally.
script, right? Like it has to be that.
Well,
Because
also they're like,
if not, like why is it a wish thing? Like what is it with all these wishes,
that's just a stupid concept in general. It
Very
didn't feel
silly.
like, it didn't even feel comic booky. It was just very weird. And then here's another thing that like really bothered me about the time setting was, again, you didn't even have to have it be in the 80s. And then you bring in this introduction of Chris Pine, who comes back and he's like, oh, the 80s, there's all this technology. That's another good reason to just like have it be in modern times. Like, why not just like make it modern times? Because then he's like, oh, trains. It's like, but to us as viewers, or just like, we're looking at old
Oh yeah, that's an old train.
We're looking at old technology, like, oh, computers, and they're like old computers. And it's like, you should have just like, it would have connected with the audience more to just like have it be now. And then he's like, oh, so much has changed. And that, it didn't work at all. Because
Yeah, it was
again, you're not even getting that 80s vibe. So it's just like, it's just in a past setting. It just feels like it's aged already. It's just,
Yeah.
it's already aged. Literally. Like, it was so weird to just have that be a part of the movie. Like, I understand he comes in, he's like, oh, wow, it's crazy. I don't understand technology. But then why have it in the 80s? I don't get that at all.
Very strange. I really don't understand it. And it just like it's just kind of like all like weird. It felt like a committee movie. It felt like all these ideas that were kind of being like hurled at it.
Yeah.
And then the
Definitely.
things that the like few things that I thought it would deliver on, it didn't even deliver on. Like how bad did they squander that fucking cool golden like bird suit? Like all the press materials, her like in this crazy colors wearing this gold bird suit, and it's like sick. Can't wait to see her fly around in this gold bird suit. And then she like flies up in it once at night and like punches 3 guys and then rips the wings off and just has like a fist fight.
It's at the very end.
What was that for? Yeah, it just had made no difference. Didn't like seemingly give her any like skill, because also she
It was just like heavy
in the
armor.
sky. Yeah, she learns to fly while her powers are weak, which is another thing we'll get into
also,
in a second. Makes
yeah,
absolutely no sense.
That moment was
But-
very weird, but okay.
She flies in the sky. She's riding thunder. She leaves DC and then flies in the sky for a long time back to her apartment in the same town.
Yep.
To change into a bird suit to then just like fly there. Just seems like, I don't know, like, seems like your powers are fine. You're literally riding lightning. Like, you could probably be okay fighting these 3 guys at this base without your cool suit. Maybe save that for the next one, because you're literally fighting like 3 guys and a cheetah woman. You know, that
you wasted this legendary armor that you've been saving.
Yeah, she like leaves. She just rips the wings off and throws them on the ground. It's like, I don't know, weren't those like really important?
I know, right? Yeah, dude. Okay, so the whole part with her powers going away.
I have no idea what was going on with that.
Wasn't very clear, but I guess the point was like she gave up something to bring back or to make her wish come true, right? Because that's what everyone. It takes a while to explain all this stuff, but you finally kind of get it.
So everyone like gives away something that like makes sense though. Like Kristen Wiig, it's like, now that you're hot, like you don't care about anybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you gotta care. But she's like, hey, now that you reanimated your boyfriend into a new body, you're losing your superpowers. And it's like, wait, why? That is, you know what I mean? Like Pedro Pascal like loses the relationship with his son because he's so busy. Right. It's like she just like, it's just like an arbitrary thing.
Yeah.
It's like, what? And since she loses her superpowers, how does she electrocute Kristen Wiig while she's in water?
I know. And she's not affected by the electricity.
She's in a metal suit in water.
And she literally goes and she's in the same water and shocks Kristen Wiig.
I was just like, wait, what? I thought she had her powers taken away. But they also tell her she has her powers taken away after she like uses one leg to like kick a tank over. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. She seems like her powers are going pretty good.
I think they were just like fading because she gets hit by that one bullet, right? And there's that chase scene.
Can't she just not get hurt by things?
Which also was another terrible thing because she's like gliding at a different speed. Like she was running, right?
Yeah.
But she was like sort of gliding, and the visual effects behind her were terrible.
They didn't look great.
For this movie, they were not good at all. Especially for that when she's like running in slow motion, but she's going, obviously going super fast. It looked weirdly timed, so the pace was weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love the clearly set up houses right next to the highway.
Oh God, with the children,
dude, the children are
like
stay off the road.
Saves and then like body slams into the ground.
She brings the kids back and she goes, "Stay off the road." She says, and they like literally live next to a highway.
Yeah, it's like what? So weird. Like there's a high-speed chase going down in Egypt, and there's just 2 kids playing in the road. They don't look to see the like
middle of the fucking desert
behind them. They don't hear the explosions from these giant machines flipping over.
No, they're playing soccer. They don't understand.
Yeah, they're in it, dude.
They don't hear the explosions.
So I just couldn't believe that. Like, why have her slip? She slips off the thing, and then there's just that really corny effect where she's like rolling, holding the children.
Yeah,
and it's like, those children would be dead. Like, or at least like injured. Like one of them had to have broken their arm. She like rolled over.
Oh yeah,
like, rolled on top of them.
They're unscathed. Metal... How?
Yeah, like what?
Also, when she lands, there's that shot. They're clearly dummies. Like the kids.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like it's so obvious. Like they are just like
have her jump off and land. And I also think it's weird that they drive by and she can run as fast as she wants. Right. And they just go, fuck, they got away. It's like, fucking run after them. Like, what are you doing? like, you literally just ran faster than all of them together and, like, ran to the head of it. Like, they just shot the thing and she grabbed on. Do it again. Hunt him down.
Go back.
Like, they just give up so easy. It was really weird. I was like, wait, it's over? Because while parts of that chase were goofy, that was probably at least my favorite action set piece out of both movies. Like the car thing, like it's like a decent enough car chase. Like it wasn't like I wasn't bored during it.
No, yeah, I agree.
Like a lot of action stuff is just kind of like whatever. But
it was the latter. It was like the later parts of that scene were like really
once they
bad.
Introduced the kid thing, it was a little goofy.
Yeah,
but it felt kid with an action figure in like a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sliding on the bottom and then they're flipping over.
No, that part was cool. Like her
this is
slide on
fine.
the bottom was cool.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is actually like a pretty decent like action set piece. And then I was like, oh, wait, no. Children playing soccer. Uh-oh.
Okay, so she also finds out a lot of new powers about herself, too. I thought it was very weird to introduce the flying aspect, which tonally didn't match or
No.
at all. So that happens. She discovers that she can fly. After realizing that she can turn things invisible, so she gets her invisible jet, right?
Yeah.
But that's completely pointless because later in the movie she learns she can fly.
now.
Why does she need the jet?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Stupid.
And also, why would a jet being invisible prevent it from coming up on radar? It doesn't not exist.
Apparently,
it's just invisible.
Apparently, it hides them from the radar. Apparently,
No, that doesn't.
because it disappears
doesn't
on the
make
radar
sense.
when it turns invisible.
Well, I get that
Yeah.
in the movie, but I'm just saying.
No, I know you're saying. No, yeah, totally. No, it doesn't make any
Um,
sense. But that's how they
Because it's
explain
still
it.
there. Like, the radio waves would still bounce off of it.
Right.
Because it's there, but you just can't see it.
It's invisible, man. It's invisible.
I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah. I did think the look of the invisibility jet was cool, but like again, it just like was pointless because
She can fly later.
she can fly now.
To the track from Sunshine when he sees the sun.
Right. So here's another thing, another weird. So getting to the jet, she just has a pass that she swings at the door, and she just has access to all these jets that they steal.
I guess.
What is her job? Is like so obscure. Like,
Oh, I have no idea what her job was. I was like, what does she do? And then I was like, oh, I don't know.
she just like she's just
I
like
don't
super.
know.
She's super hot, but she like analyzes like historical artifacts.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's just, yeah, and it's like, yeah, I'm sure there's attractive people that have this job, but also she shows up with like, you know, like perfect makeup and hair and like, and
High
again,
heels and-
it's a touchy thing, but it's just like, I don't get how she can like transform into her Wonder Woman suit and just like have perfect makeup all the time.
Oh yeah.
Just seems, it's just all these like little things that seem counterproductive to like the goal of like overall what the movie like wants to be or like portray. There's all these just like little things like that where it's just like, I don't know, like what if there was a scene where in the first one where she's just like, or even in this one where she's like, I don't know, we didn't have this shit when I was in the Amazon. She like learns about how to like do makeup and all the work that goes into like making yourself look like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but then she wouldn't be hot and they wouldn't be able to sell tickets.
Exactly. You got a point there, Wes.
Yeah, I don't know. There's things like that where you can just disbelieve reality for stuff like that. I don't know, but it's like when you start to get to things where it introduces ideas and concepts that make you think about these sort of things. That's when you criticize them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. And then also I thought Pedro Pascal's character, he was just like way overacting. I don't know if
I wrote that down. Pedro Pascal is an overactor for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
you know,
overactor.
I feel like it was maybe partially him, but also partially the way he was directed. Because he was clearly, I don't know if he was really like, be crazier. He was like directed, get your hair in your face.
Just
like
walking
be
in
crazier.
places and be like, you know, just like sweating, like walking, like his arms out, like,
And his hair all over the place, and he's like,
yeah,
make
me a wish. Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah,
Very
it was too much. It was way too much.
Yeah, the whole wish thing was just really silly,
Really stupid.
and there was like one moment where I was like, if this was a 90s like or 80s like fun 90-minute action movie is what I was gonna say. Like the concept of the chaos happening because of everyone's wishes is like prime for an 80s fun like romp thing. You know what I mean? Like him being like, I wish for a farm, but I didn't mean here. There's like a bunch of cows. Just like having like all this like silly chaos would have been incredible, you know? But it's just like such a wasted idea that is like boiled down to that one line. And then that just means that there gets to be trash everywhere later in the movie. Like when Pedro Pascal's looking for his son, and it's just like a field of trash. It's like, what happened? Like, there's running through this trash field. What's going on here?
It just makes no sense. And then also like the concept like, oh, you have to destroy the stone and all the wishes go away. Right?
Mm.
So what was he standing in when he's
no idea.
He's in like a blue tank of light. Like it's just like a blue beam of light. What was that?
Yeah, because it also makes no sense because I was wondering what that was, but it wasn't what was transmitting him to all the TVs before.
No, because he was at the podium.
Because her whip is like in it, she's transferring to all the TVs in the world.
Oh yeah, so apparently she can transfer somehow. I love how the microphone picked up her whispering.
Yeah, and it's because her whip is just an inch into this blue dome that like wasn't in the movie before. Like I didn't understand that.
He like stepped into this blue light. He's like, yes, and he's like powering up, but it's like, what was that device? Because it was just in like the president's office, right? It was like the broadcast. It was the broadcast place where the president would speak to the country.
I didn't even fucking remember.
Yeah, no. So where he was speaking was where the president would speak to the press.
Oh,
so like,
where he was before.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then
but where was this chamber place?
It's again? In this. It was in the same room. He just walked over.
So weird. Yeah.
So he walked.
So weird.
It was in the camera room. So it was like behind the cameras. So he's at the podium. All the cameras are pointing at the podium. He's speaking, and then at some point he steps like out on the other side of the cameras into the center of this like room where there's just like a beam of light, blue light beaming down to the floor.
It's the wish light, Wes.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, I have no idea. It's very weird.
Dude, it's really bad. It was terrible. I did not like this movie. And I kept waiting and waiting. I was like, when's it going to get good? When's it going to get good? Come on. And
nope.
I thought it was way worse than the first one.
Yeah, I guess like the first one's probably better, like tighter, more
definitely
cohesive.
Definitely better. More entertaining, makes more sense. Doesn't have like a weird
I thought the first one's kind of boring, honestly.
Really?
I wasn't really into it. Yeah.
Wow.
But also, I kind of thought this one was boring. So,
this one was way too long.
So long. Honestly, they're both too long. 2.5 hours is too long. It doesn't need to be that long.
So long. Cut a whole hour out of that.
Okay, I get why they like want to have the scene at the beginning to appease like the people who want to see the Wonder Woman HQ society, whatever. But it's just unnecessary seeing her as like a child. And
yeah,
also,
just because the first one starts that way, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like mimicking that. But also, can you imagine being one of those fucking other people and being like, fucking 10-year-old girls trying to step to us right now?
I know,
you
right?
know what I mean? Like, get out of here.
It's probably the best part of the movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but it's also the part that makes the least sense being in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, it tries to bring in that theme of the truth. The truth is everything. The truth stops all things.
But what is that theme? You know what I mean? Like, they showed a bunch of weird stock footage of the truth. You know? Yeah. It's like, the truth. And then it's like bombs going off and like clips from TV. I was like, wait, what?
Also,
like, what's going on?
How did she convince millions of people, billions of people, to revert their wish? Like what? Yeah. Like she convinced.
They all just reverted.
She convinced literally everyone on Earth to take back their wish.
There's not one person.
It's fucking
just
bullshit,
like,
dude.
There's like a homeless person who's like, I wish for one meal. And they're like, I renounce my wish.
Yeah, renounce your wish.
Very, very humble wish.
Yeah.
Like,
I wish for one meal to last through the day.
Yeah.
And like, no, renounce your wish. Renounce your. So
also speaking
all
of
the wishes were renounced.
One meal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just gonna say real quick. Speaking of homeless people eating one meal, that fucking homeless guy who's in the movie that Kristen Wiig like talks to twice.
Oh yeah.
He's like, what have you done? Wow! Like, what is this role? So unnecessary. Just like writing in this guy because she's just like nice because she gives him her leftovers or something. It's like,
so
what is
weird,
that supposed
dude.
to make her a good person? Like,
I guess
it's not a bad quality, but it's also like, I don't know, it's weird to write in.
But that's another thing
Anyway.
I'm saying. Like that's another quality. Like, why would she turns evil so quickly
For no reason.
And
yeah,
then the part where she knocks away the rapey dude, right? Like,
yeah.
drunk rapey dude. He fucking deserves it. He deserved that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
That
like,
was
why is
also
she like
a fucking bullshit scene? Because it was perceived and tonally as really dark. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Wah! When she's like kicking him, it's like, yeah, fuck this guy. You like punched him like 3 times. He's not dead. Did she kill him? I don't think she killed him. Did she?
no. So
And
that's
honestly, if she did, I wouldn't have been that upset. It's like, yeah, fuck that guy. He tried to rape you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it was totally
like,
strange.
what a piece of shit. You're like portraying it as like her fall, and it's like, I don't
Yeah.
know, like seems like she's just like, I don't know, beating him up because he's a big piece of shit. You know?
So
Like,
strange, like such mixed messages there, because you're like, you're rooting for her at that point because yeah, this guy fucking deserves it, but it's like it's also being played as, oh, this is her being dark and she's turning, and look what she's doing.
I don't know. It doesn't seem that evil to me.
It doesn't.
You know? Like,
wasn't evil. She was defending herself.
yeah, he's being a big piece of shit.
I mean, it's a little dark. I guess she murders him, but it's like still warranted in some respects.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Anyway, I can keep picking this movie. It was
let
pretty
me just
bad,
go over
dude.
my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. I guess the only one I had on here was that we didn't go over. Is that why does she just have the suit like wrapped up in paper like in her office?
She just
like,
like,
oh yeah, that's the famous Amazonian super suit. Like, it's pretty cool.
yeah,
You know,
but she
it's
like, but also she left, that island with, she didn't have that in the first movie.
yeah. So are we to assume that she went back at some point? In
I
this
guess
60-year gap that we didn't fucking cover.
also she hasn't been fighting crime for 60 years. She's just been hiding.
Yeah, I really do. I'm very confused about.
And she's
that
like
because,
really, she's also really
Like,
lonely. She's really
yeah.
lonely.
It's like starting Batman, where Batman like beats up some criminals, like some small time guys, and then him being like, "Good first night on the job." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like, but wait, don't you have all this shit? And isn't this the second one? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What?
Like, yeah, I don't.
And they're like,
Just a lot of things that didn't feel thought through. It's like, this is not thought through very much.
Also, I love just like in DC, like their faces are shown. There, no one's like,
Yeah.
that's the woman who was at the mall, or like,
Yeah.
who did these other crimes. Like, no one put 2 and 2 together. Like, you're literally Wonder
Yeah.
Woman.
Yeah, very weird.
Dumb.
And someone yells Wonder Woman in the part where there's like, I guess, riots in the streets because everyone's scared, which was also really weird.
Yeah.
They were like running right before they have the romantic last Chris Pine scene.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't someone say something about Wonder Woman? And I was like, doesn't no one know who she is?
I don't remember that. Maybe.
Maybe I misheard, but I rewound and I was like, I'm pretty sure he's saying something about Wonder Woman over the radio. I don't know. I also think it's weird that I don't know if I like her just cutting back to her and she's in her outfit. I don't know if I like that.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that.
I will say I thought she did a decent job. Like, I think she's good. I just think the script and everything else around it was terrible.
Yeah.
But I think she does a decent job portraying the character in her
She's
own way.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think the action set pieces were better in this one. Like the combat, the fist fighting scene, and it's like those all right.
Yeah, that was cool.
Once again, nothing that I'm like being like, wow, what a cool set piece, but it just wasn't. I don't know. There was like something to it, like it was moving. You know what I mean?
There are
It wasn't
moments.
static.
There are moments, but just the entire concept is just so stupid. It just ruins everything for me. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
It's not what you want.
No.
What would you give it, Wes? Or were you done?
Well,
Did you have
I thought you had notes. Did you say your notes?
Oh, we had gone over.
Oh, okay. I'm giving this movie 1.5.
Yeah, I'd probably do the same.
Big dip from the first one. I thought I give first one 3.5. It had teetered on 4 in the past, but I think 3.5 is a good solid for. It was very entertaining for me. I thought it was pretty decent. And then there's this one, the wish storm, the wishes, why was it in the 80s? The Chris Pine in the body makes no sense at all. And
what
then
about or what were you gonna say?
Yeah, and then so she at the end she finds together she's already banged and is like, oh, you know what? Maybe I will give this random guy I've never met before a shot.
Yeah.
Even though
also.
Yeah, it was so much stuff not thought out.
And also if they're trying to do this like sort of like anti like consumerist capitalist thing, why would you end the movie on Christmas like that?
Exactly. It's so stupid.
Weird.
It's so weird and stupid. Very
in
much.
The end, you're buying the product that you're watching right now. It's like you've already done it, you fucking idiot.
It's very much like you said, a committee movie that just felt like a conglomerate of mishmash of ideas that this corporation decided like, oh, this will be entertaining, and just like amounts to nothing. Like, yeah, I thought it was an absolutely terrible movie. It makes me a little nervous for the new Star Wars movie that Patty Jenkins is directing.
Yeah.
Makes me nervous.
Not what you want.
And it sucks, you know, I really wanted it to be good, and super disappointed. So yeah, 1.5 for me.
It's not what you want.
All right. Well, sorry to end on a downer, but
no, it's all right. I was also just looking up. It was the song in Sunshine.
It was.
Yeah, it's the piece from Sunshine when she's flying. I didn't know if it was like a knockoff version, like they just like did like a couple, like they changed the key or did like an interval off or something, so it wasn't the same. But I think it actually is it.
That's hilarious.
The temp score coming through. Absolutely, that was a temp score track that just ended up in the movie.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Quick update on that.
That's hilarious. I bet you the editor threw the temp track in there, and the executives watched and they're like, "We're keeping it.
Yeah,
this works perfect. It's amazing.
Matches, you know?
It's amazing."
It's been in so many movies, and think about how many people actually watched the movie Sunshine. You know?
Yeah. Anyways, as always, you can find other episodes of this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and all major platforms.
Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And if you enjoy the show, please consider leaving us a review in iTunes, because every rating brings more listeners. You can email us at listentousrantaboutmovies@gmail.com.
You too can be a producer and or supporter of this podcast by visiting our Patreon page and becoming a monthly patron for as little as $1. Visit www.patreon.com/LTURAM podcast.
All right. Thanks, Ronnie.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Zach, good talk.
Good chatting, man.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Thanks for listening to this Listen to Us Rant About Movies podcast episode. Goodbye, and I will see you again on the next show.